I don't have to do a game. Oh,
We get time.
this game recap. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that out loud?
All right, so we should not have any technical issues. I ran through everything, and honestly, folks, we're back to StreamYard. I miss StreamYard so much. No offense to Eve Mux or however you say it, it just wasn't happening. And we had a show problem with last week's show, and I was done. Not to mention, I'm not distracted with a new job. I finally got a flow going, so consistency going forward.
Excellent.
Yes.
I'm trying my laptop, so we're going to see how that goes.
Yeah, we're going to see how it goes. Mark Gorosh should be joining us here momentarily, as he was supposed to be our guest last week, but the Evox, again, just I can't deal with it anymore. So, but thanks for tuning in to the Tiger Minor League Report podcast here at TigersMLReport.com. I am Rogelio Castillo. Alongside me is Chris Brown and Brandon Day. Find us on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to. And finally, see, I could get a rundown. See, I can actually do a whole rundown sheet finally to the right of me for the first time in a while, too, because that wasn't an option. Yeah, plenty to get to, though, as the offseason has officially began, and Dillon Dingler is a Gold Glove winner. So there's that to talk about. Game 7, what a game that was. I'm sure everybody stayed up for that, but that was I was flicking back and forth between that and the Michigan game, and then Michigan was like, you know what, we're going to play like crap against Purdue for some strange reason. But I mean, we're not in a position like Michigan State here with Jonathan Smith, who kind of looks like what's going on with his eyebrows, Mark?
Who, John L. Smith?
Yeah.
I don't know, but there was some bad football this weekend, or at least sloppy football. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Some really bad football.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jonathan Smith looks like somebody to me, but I don't know who it is. He looks like somebody else. There's too much forehead and not enough chin.
He looks like the guy from Nip and Tuck who just passed away, Julian.
I didn't watch that show, but
Mark. Let's see here. I'm on. No, your mic should be on. Everything should be good to go, my friend.
Yeah, I haven't heard him yet, though.
Gold Glove on my
see him.
Not bad.
Yeah, he does seem to appear to be at the Temple of Doom, yes.
Mola Ram is back there somewhere.
We tested his mic yesterday. Everything seemed to be working then.
Right, I hear a little fuzz. He's coming.
Fuzz. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, well, Mark works out the mic issue there. Yeah, he should be there. Nothing. Mark, I sent you the right link. I know I did my homework.
Well, he's here. He must have the right
nothing,
link.
Nothing worse than technical difficulties, man. Now we know how all those pitchers and catchers feel when the pitch count goes down.
Oh, yeah. I know we're all just like signaling, like, bro, no.
Yeah. I know, like I have the mic settings on and everything too, so I'm not sure what else. We tested yesterday, last night. I asked like, hey, let's test this, and okay, so
try something.
He's gonna get back.
Yeah. Can you hear him at all?
No, I can't hear anything.
Yeah, me neither.
All right, well, we'll get back to Mark here in a second.
Killer intro. We're off to a good start. Let's go.
Yeah.
Back. Yeah. So, anyways, Chris, go ahead.
I don't know. What?
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
No, I don't know. I was just Game 7, a remarkable Mike Petriello from MLB.com, friend of the podcast, had a really fun article about looking at that through the championship win probability added, and was that the most epic game in World Series history? And by one measure, it was. It had 9 what he called I forget what he called them, but there were like plays that changed the win probability by 15% or more.
Oh yeah.
and no game had ever had more than 7. And the one with 7 was actually 100 years ago, 1924 World Series.
Oh
which
wow.
I actually read up on that a few years back because prior to the Nationals winning the World Series in 2019, was it?
Mhm.
That was the last Washington Nationals World Series win. And I looked into that because my grandfather was a Washington baseball fan his entire life. They won like 9 days after he was born and then not again until like 3 months before he died.
Oh wow.
But he was completely lucid and got to see it. It was great. But yeah, that 1924 World Series ended in the 12th inning on a walk-off double.
And it was against
Walter Johnson.
It was against Pirates, right?
I think so. Walter Johnson pitched the final 4 innings of that game as the 36-year-old.
Oh wow.
Doing Yamamoto back when it was still due. But this game had more. And still can't hear Mark.
So many times they had, multiple runners on base. I mean, the Blue Jays had all these chances, repeatedly pulling the infield in and having it work. From Dave Roberts putting Andy Pages into center field just in time to run over Kike Hernandez and make an amazing play at the left center field wall. I mean, it just went on and on. The whole series was like that. Balls getting stuck under the wall that could have been a triple, and it was a double. And then Yamamoto just coming in like an absolute, boss after pitching the night before. And that was mind-boggling. Like I thought they might get an inning out of him and have to go to Kershaw or something. But yeah, it was just absolutely bananas.
Maybe there's something to those Japanese high schools having their guys throw 150 pitches a day in pitching 5 straight days.
What was the other thing too? He throws he throws javelins. I mean, I don't know if he's out there at Chavez Ravine just like flinging javelins, across the stadium and leaving big holes everywhere. I have no idea what this man's up to, but everyone should copy him.
Who was it in Revenge of the Nerds that threw the javelin? Was that Lamar?
Oh, it was Lamar. Yeah, Lamar.
They made a wobbly javelin.
Yeah, the scientific one. Yeah, that was. Yeah,
it makes sense. People throw footballs, and it's that trying to dial in that same motion. So I guess I can see it, but I hadn't heard of that one before, at least not often.
Yeah, it's going to be an army of little kids, 5'10" kids out there throwing javelins to see if they can. But yeah, just a remarkable and like that Kiner Falefa when he was out at home by an inch, and everybody talking about how he didn't, another foot lead and he would have scored, and it just. People are like, you're ranking the best World Series of our lifetime. And Raj and I were even going back and forth about that, trying to remember. I think this would have been a little bit higher for me had the Blue Jays won, and not just because, didn't want to see the Dodgers win, but because it would have been a walk-off at home. That's like the pinnacle, right?
Yeah, but the crowd would have gone insane instead of booing.
Yeah, definitely one of the top 5-6 World Series of my lifetime. I could see the argument. I know I have a buddy who lives in Chicago who says 2016 was the best, and I can see that if you're a Cubs fan, whatever. But
sure. It wasn't
91.
No argument.
91 was an epic World Series. We talked about 97 when the Marlins won. 2001, the Diamondbacks and Yankees World Series was insane. And what's the other one I thought of?
Twins and Braves 91.
Yeah.
They're.
And I think I put 2019 in there, even though it wasn't necessarily a great World Series, but it meant something to me for reasons I talked about earlier.
You hear me this time or not?
Hey, there you go.
Hey.
Oh, you had to take the hat off. Nope. You put the hat back on. It's not going to work.
Sorry,
Mark.
All right. It'll work. Work.
Okay. I really we tested it yesterday just Mark, can you verify that we did test this yesterday?
We did. It's something to do with my computer because the laptop just won't roll, bro.
Okay. All right. But we're talking about the World Series a little bit and where this stood as games as far as like epic World Series goes. And I think the biggest thing you were talking about, Brandon, with the Pajas thing is that Tommy Edman was on a bad ankle. And he would not made that play whatsoever. But it was literally, I think Chris said it in our text, it looked like Pajas slam dunked on Kike Hernandez because it literally just throw it down, big man kind of moment. And
did absolutely the right thing and just ran him over. Like, nope, center fielder, baby, my ball. I got it.
It was one of those things where we saw Pajes in the minors, and I don't remember him being that tall.
No,
I was like, maybe Kike Hernandez is just a tiny.
I couldn't believe how large he looked, especially running in from the outfield next to Kike. It was it was crazy. That was an amazing, amazing, amazing catch there.
Yeah, he covered a lot. Like Parker Meadows kind of gazelle, like covered a lot of ground because you see where he starts and where he ends up at. It was insane. And then how loud, and also people were like, well, how come we couldn't hear him? Like, you know how loud it is in there? You know, like,
I asked Petriello to post how many feet he ran to catch that. It had to be over 110 feet. It was crazy.
He put his head down and went nuts. Yeah, that was.
And there was a lot of that. I mean, you know, like Vlad spearing that you know, kind of sinking line drive down the line. I mean, you know, Miguel Rojas must have made 3, you know, game-saving plays. It felt like in that game too.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people complaining about the jump that IKF got off a third, and you know, the fact that the play was just, you know, 6 inches from being safe and ending the game. I can understand them being frustrated, but holy smokes. I mean, Miguel Rojas, he should retire.
Yeah.
What else is there for him to do, huh?
No,
was his batting average against sliders like 059 or something like that?
It was like the first home run he hit in a year or something like that against the
off a right-hander. Yeah.
It's insane. I will say, you know, and it kind of reminded me, like, these epic games, right? That's how I felt about the Tigers Mariners game 5, where like it's not the same stage, right? But there are these great plays that happen and these amazing plays that you remember, and a lot of them go by the wayside. Like Kerry Carpenter's home run in that game was just insane.
Yeah.
But it's going to get forgotten, and down the road, people are going to forget. People outside of Toronto will probably forget some of the big plays in that game. But just a remarkable exhibition for the game of baseball. Like, I think people. I think playoff baseball is a different animal entirely. But I think that one really captured the imagination of a lot of people.
I started writing an article, and I haven't quite wrapped it up yet, but it's basically, did the Dodgers ruin baseball or save it? You know, because you know, I mean, they're putting Shohei Ohtani and a lot of the biggest stars on the biggest stage for the game. The ratings were through the freaking roof. You know, this is what the game needs. There's a lot of teams trying to spend a lot of money and not doing jack with it. So, you know, I can't say I was rooting for the Dodgers. I didn't really have a strong rooting interest, but you know, I mean, you come away with it feeling pretty good about what it does for baseball to see that game go down in that whole series.
How about this? A game 7 that Shohei Ohtani pitched, Glasnow pitched, Snell, who threw 2 of the dirtiest strikeout pitches you could ever imagine in that game, and then Yamamoto closes after pitching the night before. They used their 4 best starting pitchers with Robleski, okay? And then meanwhile, they're pitching Emmett Sheehan for an inning. Think about that. It was insane. And think about the bomb that Bichette hit off of Ohtani. Oh my God, he just absolutely crushed it. And it can't get much better of a 7th game than that was. Will Smith, are you kidding me? How many times? And you know, it was just, the entire series was so great for baseball. I mean, all the playoffs. Think about how many great playoff baseball games there were. You know, obviously the Tigers in quite a few of them, but holy smokes, man. What a playoffs. One for the ages, to say the least.
I think just one thing that I'll bring up, just we were talking about the great World Series in the past. Now, I was born in 1980, so I didn't catch the 1968 World Series, but I imagine that's one of the all-time great World Series too, when you've got plays at the plate, you've got you know, a RBI triple in the 7th inning, right? I believe for Jim Northrup, that ended up kind of winning them the series. Mickey Loach going ham.
Kurt Flood slips. How about what was even crazier to add to that is the 67 series was also crazy.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, Gibson won 3 games in that series. That was arguably the greatest World Series ever. So, Yeah, just a lot different. I did ride my bike home. I was in the 1967. Mark Gorosh was in the sixth grade. Okay, so
Nice.
I'm going to be 70 this year to show you how long ago that was. And yeah, but I'm just so happy for baseball. I mean, it's great that baseball had a stage, and the games were that great.
Yeah. Yep, because it could have been a sweep, and then everyone's like, "Oh God, the Dodgers!" Like they bought the whole league, and this sucks. Nope, it was an absolute war. Came down to the final bell. I see, like that one debate I keep seeing is about why did Isaiah Kiner-Falefa slide? I don't know if it gets him there any faster. Like it's just always hard to tell. I saw, one thing that was interesting about that World Series is how many like players were chiming in. Like there was a lot of players, talking about
Oh
his
yeah.
lead, defending him on the lead, defending him on the slide. So yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. You saw all these players watching. You saw Max Clark tweeting. You saw all kinds of players out there weighing in on every little detail of that game, which was pretty cool too.
And for once, John Smoltz did not sound like a begrudging old man in some cases. Like
John Smoltz fits best for me in like a World Series. Like when small ball becomes more relevant, like John Smoltz becomes more relevant too.
Yeah.
Answer this for me, guys. I don't know how much you heard him, but how great was Adam Wainwright, though? Oh my goodness, was he was amazing. He should actually replace Smoltz. He's way calmer and way more 2025.
Yeah.
John's a little stuck in the 90s there, dude.
Yeah. I mean, at least it's not Bob Costas doing the games anymore. I mean, Costas was, you could tell he's just like mailing in after a while. I mean, if it doesn't involve the New York, what does he care? But
right.
I mean,
still mildly displeased with Adam Wainwright for 2006, but I should probably
I get it.
Yeah. I just to go back to the Dodgers real quick. The one thing I would be a lot angrier at them if they weren't also a top 2-3 player development organization. They have the one kind of really great advantage they have is getting the top Asian players, but they're still spending a lot of money, right? Like, but they're just a remarkable machine in terms of player development and drafting, and they're absolutely nobody in baseball is as good at them at finding pieces in trades that they really like and then turning them into legit prospects. They're amazing at it. And so they do. I mean, they're a well-oiled machine, and I think that what was the final line? To beat the champ, you got to knock them out, and it's like, yeah, they would not die. And he's talking about Will Smith, homegrown player, hit with the big hit in the game.
Yeah. It was kind of interesting. There was like that point where Andrew Friedman was still kind of trying to moneyball things a little bit and develop his homegrown guys, and then at a certain point he realized, like, nope, we're just going to go buy the best players. Yeah. We're going to develop all these prospects and trade them for whoever we need. They didn't really need Tommy Edman when they went and got him. They were just like, nope, that guy's good and he's super useful and does all these different things. We'll just go get him now. And they made that pivot, and all these, I mean, the Yankees can't manage it. The Mets are a cluster. The Phillies spent, I think, $300 million or darn close to it. And now they're going to lose Schwarber. It's not easy. The Dodgers make it look easier than it is. And it still took, a game 7 extra innings to put the thing away. Baseball has its way of sort of balancing the forces a little bit.
And Dave Roberts is a hell of a manager. I mean, again, just the decision we talked about with Pejas, but just he's a guy who pushes all the right buttons, and he's a guy. There is a reason why he got the extension. I mean, I think that we talk about AJ Hinch making a difference for the Tigers lineup, and Roberts is the same way. You go to all those personalities, you have all the Japanese interpreters all across the board. You have to speak all these different languages out there, and Roberts is able to do that. It's pretty remarkable.
It's a different type of managing there. I mean, it really is like managing the circus. Like AJ Hinch came here and was directly involved in, developing all the strategy and developing, the player development system and, hiring Scott Harris even and doing all these things. Dave Roberts must have so much like input, let's put it, from the front office, like so many different voices coming at him, so many directives, and then you're juggling these huge personalities, with who are their own, sort of mega media companies on their own. It's I don't know what you could really kind of compare it to exactly, but he's gotten it done. I mean, that's 3 out of 6 now.
It's a lot. I mean, it's think about this. They draw 50,000 people every single night.
Yep.
Their attendance is over 4 million. So it's pretty crazy. And it's not like they play in a bad division either, by the way. So, I mean,
Padres,
that's
Padres another good example of a team that just can't quite get there, man.
Yeah.
I mean, look, in San Francisco was not exactly terrible this year either. So, it's a, pretty unusual run, 3 out of 6. I mean, 2 in a row now. They're obviously going to be hunted like crazy next year. Should be pretty fun. It's also, you're going to have to, you get a contract year. So it'll be very interesting to see exactly. You're going to have the ABS next year. You're going to have the CBA expiring. So it should be pretty interesting in the world of baseball next year.
You've also got gambling. You've got all these gambling issues going on. Not that I love that, but that's another storyline that is taking over sports and is gonna end up impacting that ABS system debate, I think, quite a bit, as a way to sort of alleviate concerns about the umpires getting involved in that and adding even another element to it. So yeah, I mean, the next year is shaping up to be, I think, a huge one and a pretty pivotal one for baseball. And as for the Dodgers, they're getting old a little bit. I don't expect them to fold up, but there's a couple guys on that roster who aren't quite what they used to be, and we'll see if they can just keep it going like this or not. It's not necessarily guaranteed the next couple of years.
True. I mean, but the Giants are going to have a 33-year-old manager. You got to look at there's going to be another manager in San Diego again.
I mean, Manny Machado isn't getting any younger.
Yeah,
either.
yeah, he's not. Yeah, the Rockies are a joke, and the Diamondbacks are. I don't know what the hell's going. I mean,
I do think that the Padres have some darkness down the road coming with all those giant contracts they signed. But one thing, and I guess that's the one thing that another advantage the Dodgers have. The teams who spend all this money, they can afford to make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And the Dodgers bullpen, all the guys they paid for, kind of garbage.
Yes.
And what's his name?
Scott,
Yates and Tanner Scott, they were all bad. And
how about Vesia not there, one of their best. So that's 4 pretty important arms at certain points during the year. Had none of them. Sasaki throwing 94 in May.
Yeah.
They took him to God knows where. And, God knows what they did to him. But meanwhile throwing 100 and closing for them. Who had that on the dance card in July? So it's you got to pay a lot of respect that the Dodgers, for all the money they spend, they still find a way to win, dude. And I mean, they're never afraid to fail. They're never afraid to develop and think outside the box. And I a lot to admire about and they have a full ballpark every single damn night. A lot to admire about what they do.
This is a different departure from when the McCourt days where they just spent money and it went nowhere, and it was kind of like just a different type of.
Watch out for those owners who care about parking lots.
Yeah. Oh, shout out to our to almost former Tigers manager Gabe Kapler, now GM of the Marlins, apparently.
Yeah.
What? Really?
Yeah, that happened today.
Yeah, that just came out today. Yeah.
GM of the what happened to the GM of the Marlins?
I don't.
They fired him.
Yeah, he got fired.
The guy from Tampa got fired. Wait. The guy from Tampa got fired.
I can't even remember what his name is, to be honest with you. Let's see.
He had done some pretty decent stuff, by the way.
Well, I thought so had Kim Ng too, but
yeah, I mean that's kind of weird. I mean, their payroll is only like $11 million or something. It's.
Well, I didn't even know that. By the way, I didn't know Gabe Kapler was the assistant general manager. So,
yeah.
You got Frankie Pilar there doing the head of scouting. I remember when he used to write for Scout.com.
Mm-hmm. Remember?
I
wonder if I'm looking. Is this a situation where he's the GM, but the guy who was doing it before is the president?
Maybe.
Oh, that could be.
Baseball
like Jeff Greenberg.
Peter Bendix is the president
Oh,
of baseball.
Peter
There you
Bendix
go.
is still- yeah,
Yeah,
okay, he's still
okay.
president. All right.
Yeah. So he's basically Jeff Greenberg.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
So, yeah, just got to come up with like the Tigers. Who do they hire? The vice president of baseball
Alex Smith,
advancement
baseball
or
strategy.
Yeah.
Baseball
strategy.
strategies.
Yeah, they just got to come up with new names.
I got news for
Yeah.
you, dude. Yeah, that kid had a hell of a resume.
Yeah, he does.
The guy they
Yeah, he
hired?
really does.
Yeah,
He very much worked with Greenberg, total data miner. How would
you react if they asked you to?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
that's by far the best part of the front office is that data mining, strategy, understanding situations, where to, try to create mismatches and advantages, understanding things like that. Probably a lot also to do in their player development. Those are all really, really, really good parts of their front office. They should be commended for. They really do a good job with that stuff. The other stuff we're going to need to have a discussion about because we're 3 years into it.
I'll give him amateur scouting too to some degree so far.
And speaking of amateur scouting, victory for the Tigers in a way, it's Dillon Dingler winning the Gold Glove.
Yeah,
Yep.
So it's
well
a
deserved.
question. Well deserved, and he put up today. We had a chance to talk to him. It's like a 15-minute conversation with him, and he credits. He likes the game of Patrick Bailey quite a bit. It was a good question about what other catchers he admires in the league and the heritage along with Lance Parrish and Pudge and Bill Freehan. So, but no, he even said he admitted he was a musclehead, a meathead when it comes to working out too. So, but congratulations to Dingler because that's such a big deal when you're throwing 90 miles an hour to second base, like bullets like that. Yeah.
I mean, he just graded out near the top and everything, framing, blocking, throwing, pop time, whatever you want, and then had a pretty good year at the plate. You'd like to see a little more discipline. Maybe that'll come along, but we go back to heading into 2024. We were all kind of like, I don't know if this is happening, guys. The bat is just not coming along. Is this just going to be a defense only guy? What's going to happen? So yeah, the last 2 years, huge steps from Dillon Dingler. I am a little surprised he beat out Alejandro Kirk just because of you always figure the offense and, name value is going to play into things a little bit, but maybe that's just the World Series still in my head.
That was kind of the opinions I was seeing from like people in other cities, that we follow or whatever. They thought that Kirk was robbed, but I think you got to remember that a lot of that award is from managers and players, I think, right? And I think Dillon Dingler does what they think catchers should do. He looks more like a catcher than Kirk, for one thing. I don't know how much that matters, but they viewed, I think they believe in framing. They don't necessarily see it. And that's where Kirk really stood out, I believe, was his framing grades. And Dingler is
I think
just a catch and throw machine, works with pitchers really well. And that's what the players and the coaches see. And so that's why I think he won.
Yeah.
Hey, look, had the best percentage of base runners thrown out, allowed the fewest stolen bases, 0 pass balls, handled pitchers very, very well. There's no discussion here. He was the best defender in the American League behind the plate. Wasn't even close to me. Okay. I mean, it was at every aspect of catching. He was great.
Yeah. I would have voted for him for sure.
Yeah, it should be just as anonymous as Tarek Skubal winning the Cy Young, which he was among the finalists today. It was between him, Garrett Crochet, and
Hunter
Brown.
Yeah. So
Hunter Brown,
Chris's long lost relative.
Yeah,
that's right. That's there's a Hunter Brown and a Hunter Green in baseball. You gotta love it. I imagine somebody out there is gonna give Crochet a first place vote because but
Crochet was damn good, man. What are you talking about?
He was.
He was.
But I don't know how you make the argument that he was better than Skubal. Like I guess you could do it he had more strikeouts and a couple more innings maybe. But
but in terms of carrying your team, Scoobs did it all. This is a 500 team without him this year. By the way things ended.
And maybe you want to make the argument that
dragged him a lot of the rest of the way.
I can see the argument where you want somebody new, but Skubal's 2.21 ERA, Crochet 2.59. Get out of here. 10 more innings. Maybe. I don't know. Somebody will, he'll get a vote, but it's not a travesty if he gets votes, but I don't think he should win.
Yeah, it still seems pretty, pretty Skeens in the National League too. I mean, there were some other good pitchers. Sanchez was good,
Oh, dude.
but it's still Paul Skeens, dude. So I think it's got to be Skeens.
Sanchez is super great though. He's really, really good.
Yeah, he's fun to watch too. I love him.
Yeah, that Sunday night game with Sanchez against the Tigers was like the one Charlie Morton outing we got.
Mm-hmm.
But he looked dominant in that one. He was like a Scooble out there, really, with the changeup.
Being a lefty in Fenway is definitely tricky. No argument there.
As far as Hunter Brown goes, there was an evening this summer that one Brandon Day and I sat behind the plate. Happened to be a Scooble versus Hunter Brown evening.
Yeah.
It was pretty damn good, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, he was nasty. Yeah, we saw some good stuff this year because we saw Skeens too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He was nasty for sure. And a local boy makes good. That's cool. When he burst into the league, it looked like he was on this trajectory, and a couple bumps in the road, and all of a sudden here he is.
Basically, so guys, what do you think? What do you think the off season is going to look like? Because I'm very interested to hear what you think might happen, and then I'll be interested to hear what you think they will have the courage to make happen. I'm very interested in this. I haven't talked to you guys about this in a long time, and I've been keeping a few of my ideas under wraps so we could have this discussion in a public forum. So I'm kind of curious to what you think the agenda should include.
So all right. So we were gonna about to start to talk about this last week before all the technical issues happened. But Brandon, I'll let you have the floor first, and then we'll go Chris, Mark, and then I'll finish up finally. So go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean it. There's going to be some interesting decisions just this week. I am very curious to see if they decide to try to extend Glaber a qualifying offer and try to sneak through a pick, because I don't think it's a very good idea. I assume they won't do this, but we'll see. But I'm still team Alex Bregman. What I saw today though that disturbed me though is that Ha-Seong Kim has opted out of his deal, and Ha-Seong Kim just seems like the exact guy that Scott Harris would be like, yes, this is the contact artist of my dreams. Good defender, right-handed hitter. But it still comes back to the same thing. They're gonna put Kevin McGonigal in there, and they need Kevin McGonigal's right-handed opposite number, and that to me is Alex Bregman, and I still want Alex Bregman. And then you're gonna go sign yourself a starter depending on what Flaherty does. And you got to do a lot better job, with the bullpen. I know I pointed this out until people were tired of hearing it, but I mean, they basically blew $55 million of a $155 million payroll this year on nothing, on less than nothing, on things that hurt you. So this is a huge year to me for Scott Harris to prove that, he can kind of step up and actually, if he's going to be Captain Smart Guy and not spend a whole lot of money and just go sign big free agents, which we don't really think he's going to do a whole lot of, well, then he's got to be Mr. Smart Guy and get these things way more right than everyone else. So I'm curious to see what he does. I can throw out names I like and this and that, but I'm pretty much a Bregman guy. That's the guy that fits to me. Would I be angry if they signed Carl Schwarber? Not really, but I don't see that happening. I don't see why Carl Schwarber would come here. There's still the thing that it comes back to every time, which is that a lot of guys aren't going to want to come here unless you stupidly overpay. And the one guy who seemed willing to come here that you would fit perfectly is still Alex Bregman. And then you plug Kevin McGonigal in at second. I don't care where you play Colt Keith. You just work him in. And, if Max Anderson sets the world on fire, that's fine. But I haven't really seen that many signs that I think that's going to happen right out of the box. I like Max Anderson. I still think he's got a lot of proving to do. So there's my starting points at least.
Okay. So what say you, Chris?
Yeah, I do think I was going to bring up Bregman. I wouldn't hate Ha-Seong Kim, but it would not be the idea, the offensive firepower you need.
Yeah.
But I think it's largely going to be kind of what we've seen so far. And I think going back to all these reports about the Tarek Skubal contract, right? The $80 million for 4 years, and I think everybody was focusing on the wrong thing there, the gap in salary, and not thinking about the 4 years. that tells you more than anything else that Scott Harris had a young starter, one of the best pitchers in baseball, and didn't want to give him any more than 4 years. I'm sure they have something somewhere that says every free agent signing ever, over 4 years, like 90% of them didn't work out. It's like Randy Johnson and Max Scherzer, and that's it. And so I don't think you're going to be swimming in the deep into the pond again with these starting pitchers. I don't think you're going to get Dylan Cease. I don't think you're going to get Framber Valdez. I think, but there are like a handful of Scott Harris pitchers out there, like a Dustin May or Lucas Giolito, or maybe Zach Gallen's rough year means you can get him on like a 1 year prove it deal or something like that. I think we're going to see at least one or two more of those. And then they really need to get the bullpen going, like you said. I would take a shot. Ryan Helsley was really bad with the Mets, but he's a free agent now, and maybe you can get him for a little bit cheaper. I think they're going to try to bring Finnegan back, but there's some arms out there that I would take a shot on. And yeah, I mean the bats are kind of few and far between, right? Like it's like you said, it's kind of Bregman or bust. I don't think Bichette necessarily fits what they need right now, seeing as he's probably a second baseman and doesn't walk a ton. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious. And then I haven't even thought about trade options yet, but I'm sure it'd be fun to speculate on that. But until we see something, then I'm not going to go ahead and say it's going to happen.
All right, my turn. Go get a fire extinguisher in case I start a fire from this stuff. Because
oh God, the take is hot.
Let's have some fun. All right. First of all, when you build a house, you got to pour a basement. So the first thing you need to do before you do other things is you got to go sign Bregman. They were less than $10 million away from signing him last year. I'd overpay him for the first 4 years, give him an option on the 5th year that they can buy out, bite the bullet, and understand you got to start somewhere. You can't decide to do it later. You can't wait and see what everyone else is going to do. You need to be decisive. You need a right-handed bat. You need a locker room presence. You need, listen, Alex Bregman was a 4.3 WAR player if he would have played 140 games. So if all the discussion that he's old and blah, 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 yeah, you can all kiss my ass about the old, okay? I think he'll be I think he'll be just fine for the next 4 years. And then you overpay him if you have to. You front end things a little bit if you have to. He was willing to come here. He was shopping for houses in Birmingham. They need him more than Alex Bregman needs them. Okay? I'd start there. Here's the next thing I'd do. Look, their infield sucks. Period. It sucks. They got Torkelson and Keith to play first base. Okay, they're pretty much the same kind of player, so it doesn't matter which one plays first base. All right. I'm not even sure Colt Keith can even play the field right now after having the yips catching pop-ups. And if you don't think he had the yips catching pop-ups, you weren't paying attention. If you don't think that AJ Hinch knew it, why did he never play the field the last 3 weeks? Okay, so go back and check that. But at the same time, here's what I would do. Here's my big revelation. There's a hell of a second baseman who's pretty old playing second base for Arizona. They don't seem to love him too much anymore. He becomes a 10-5 guy in the first month of the season next year, which means they'll never be able to trade him after that. He controls all trades after April of 2026. If you're ever going to trade Ketel Marte, now's the time. He's got 5 no-trade teams. He's 32 years old. He has a $95 million contract for 5 years or 6 years. It's not a lot of money. $47 million of the money's deferred. Arizona, I'm sure, would be happy to start having a discussion. My question becomes, what are you willing to pay for a second baseman who is a 140 WRC plus, hit 28 homers, walked 11% of the time, that has a real manageable contract? Because if you got Bregman and you figured out a way how to trade for Ketel Marte, and feel free to start the trade with Keith or Torkelson. Don't care which one. And then you're going to have to add some stuff to it. All right. Parker Meadows, pretty tradable these days. I love me some Parker Meadows. I love me some 2024 Parker Meadows. But let's be real blunt about it. It's been 3 years. He's been good for 6 weeks. He's been borderline demotable every other minute he's played in the 3 years that he's played, besides 6 weeks. You want to include him in a trade? I'm happy to do it. He adds value. Other people will always think they can fix him. But if you had Alex Bregman playing third and Kettle Marte playing second, kind of solves your right hand hitting. I need plate discipline. I need locker room leadership right there. Then it's not so bad if you put Kevin McGonigal at shortstop and the remainder of what you didn't use in the Marte trade playing first base, and you got Briseño coming up behind it. It's a little bit different look. You don't really have outfield problems, do you? So, I mean, if you had to play Perez and Vierling in center field until the anointed one, Max Clark, can play center, you can make that up for a season, can't you?
Yeah,
So,
Javi can get out there a little bit.
Yeah. So my bottom line is, look, boys, here's the deal. You wasted $50 million last year. You should be able to take their payroll up to $160 to $170 million. The next question I'll ask you, if you were able to do that and you're going to mortgage some stuff, how big is and how long is your window? Because you've been in the window for 2 years already, and you watched the two teams playing for the World Series. Did you think we were good enough to win a World Series against either of those two teams? I didn't. Okay.
Nope.
And the best part of AJ Hinch is how he manages not only a team, but a bullpen. And you basically gave him the crumbs of a bullpen. You're always a short guy. Every guy you were hoping was going to be good last year either ended up in the operating room or was just bad. Okay. And so
or you released him and he was fairly good elsewhere.
Well, yeah, but I mean, let's be really blunt about it. Yeah, Finnegan was pretty good, but guess who gave up a run in his last 3 appearances in the playoffs when the time came to, fish or cut bait and move on? Kyle Finnegan. I mean, I get using him in leverage, but I'd sure like Kyle Finnegan a whole lot more if he was your 3rd or 4th best reliever, not your best reliever. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Will Vest is our best reliever, but yeah.
Yeah.
But I hear you.
And how much better would it be if he was our 2nd best reliever?
That would be
okay.
Ideal. Or
right. That's right. And when AJ Hinch is good, he's got a bullpen. So you want to try to make Housley a reclamation project. I'd never seen. He looked so bad when he pitched against us. At the end of the season, when I saw him, it looked like a different human, and he was still throwing 100. He couldn't get anyone out. So there has to be an answer to why a guy who was good for 5 years, all of a sudden overnight, still throwing 100 and he sucks. That's what supposedly the Tigers are good at, figuring that out. And if they're not going to figure that out, go get Devin Williams. Reminds me a little bit of the Kenny Rogers syndrome. Kenny Rogers sucked in New York. Okay. How good was he here? But you need a shutdown closer, and you're going to have to pay for him. You're going to have to pay him $18 million a year. And I'm sure when the minions go back and listen to this and hear that I was saying this, make sure you pass along to Scott that I send my regards. But I also know that his asshole will pucker to no end having to pay a closer $18 million. Oh, he may need to call a therapist over it. That's how badly it'll upset him. Okay. The bottom line is nobody wins afraid of losing, baby. You got to be willing to be a big boy. You can't always be the smartest guy in the room. Andrew Friedman's the smartest guy in the room. He had an $18 million reliever, and you know where the $18 million reliever was? He was not even on the active roster in the World Series. That's where he was. But he wasn't afraid to pay one. That's the bottom line. Okay? So there's a lot of choices. The other thing is, You want to trade Skubal because you're not signing him. And I've never been an advocate of this, but you sure should think about it. And how many teams do you actually think can afford the prospect capital that Scott Harris will require to deal Derek Skubal? I got one team. How many you guys got?
One.
I think I have two
Maybe
because I'll
two.
throw the Dodgers in there, but the Dodgers aren't going to do this. They don't need to.
What?
It's the Mets.
Listen, yeah, that's it. That's all you got.
I mean, I said the same thing. Like the Mets are the only ones who are crazy, desperate, have the money to sign Skubal long term, and have the prospects. You know,
And they're not trading trading Nolan McClain either.
Yeah, well then I'm probably not interested, to tell you the truth. I mean,
Well,
you want to give me Jonah Tong and like what's his name, Williams, fine. But I don't know. I'd just as soon run it back.
So
I mean, it's not like you can't trade Skubal at the trade deadline if it's some reason we're not competitive, right? I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of teams are gonna offer a pretty good package at the trade deadline, right?
Yep, they're gonna have to because they can always like weasel out with the the qualifying offer and take that pick. So you've got to really make it worth their while. Scott Harris can be as as brutal as he wants to be as far as like what prospects he wants, and you either pay the price or you don't. So hopefully he's able to actually use some leverage for once in a trade.
yeah,
I mean, here's the other thing. If you trade Skubal, you have almost $100 million you can spend on remaking your team.
Yeah.
So
I would throw in the Yankees as another option. I know people maybe not think that, and maybe you don't do it if you don't get Cam Schlittler or whatever, and they won't do that. But you can get George Lombard theoretically, and they have a couple really good arms that we saw in Double A this year in Carlos LaGrange and Elmer Rodriguez Cruz. I think just dudes who throw nothing, but they're just fireballers. Now,
I got a question. Hey, Chris, you guys have seen him. I mean, I've seen Lombard a few times. I hear a lot of noise about him. I just have never seen him be good.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's kind of a classic Yankees thing where they pushed him. He did not need to be a Double A this year. He showed flashes on defense for sure and speed. It's him learning how to turn on the ball and hit for power is still a few years away, but he is, he's got all the physical ability there. It's just
when Bryce Rayner is killing it, where's Lombard going to play again?
No,
you play him at third, play Rayner at third. It's
He didn't look like a third. He didn't look like a third baseman to me, brother.
And that's why I just don't think the Yankees can quite get there.
Yeah.
They can put together a good package that you could believe in, but they don't have that guy that you can plug in right now who's going to, dominate and give you something right now. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's worth bringing them up, mostly because I think you're right about those two arms. But, yeah, but is that going to be enough or realistic? Probably not. It really just
probably not. And I brought up Will Warren before, too. I mean, Will Warren was the guy that they wanted for Jack Flaherty when it fell through, and I wouldn't be surprised if they still like him. But again, how are Tigers fans going to react if you get Will Warren and Lombard for Derek Skubal? They're not going to be too happy. So
and Tony in the stats in San Diego doesn't have enough prospect capital anymore. They traded all the prospect capital during the trade deadline. So
I think the only guy they had that could have got Skubal, they traded for Mason Miller, which kudos to them. Hopefully that works out for him because I love Mason Miller, but you got to have the rest of everything for Mason Miller to be worth having.
Yeah.
So let me throw out a few more names here. All right. Michael King, in or out?
Let me go ahead. Let me go ahead first, and then
go ahead. You go ahead.
All right.
Okay.
So my plan is relatively simple. It is part of the Bregman brigade. I'm with you guys both. I'm Alex Bregman. That sets up a precedent to then go ahead. And I wrote about Devin Williams because I think there's a lot with Devin Williams there that helps your K per 9 go up in the bullpen, which you definitely
he's a great fit.
Yeah, he's a fantastic fit. Then I think this is where Scott Harris has lacked, and I'm not speaking out of turn or school with this, but being creative in a trade. A guy like Freddie Peralta, for example, or Joe Ryan, who you have two teams that that the Brewers have already said they're going to listen to offers for Freddie Peralta. see what they have with Joe Ryan too. I know that's in division, a division trade is not going to likely happen, but you definitely need another arm in the bullpen, another arm starter, especially if you're going to be trained, if you're going to trade Skubal. So this would make more sense if this happens. That being said, as far as like you go get your Devin Williams, maybe you go see what's going on with Ryan Hensley, who I think that, and somebody mentioned in the chat, wasn't really happy with going on in New York, but I also think they should go get another lefty. I think the lefty reliever situation is iffy right now at best, outside of Tyler Holton. But even then, Holton's not a for sure thing either. He's been pitching quite a bit, and I think having a guy with 3 seasons of that much work on him is going to take a toll. So that being said, I think that you go get Bregman, you go get Williams, you get another starter or two, because the pitching depth outside of what we mentioned is blank, is really bad right now. I mean, and Chris did a really good job with explaining the injury situation, contrary to popular belief on some people on Twitter. Oh, it's just a 1-year thing. No, it's been going on for a couple of years, and there's a fundamental problem right now. The Tigers do not have any starter depth, period. End of story. And I think that they have to get some starters elsewhere in order to get themselves over the next level there. As if you're going to keep Skubal, great. Give him another arm or two to work with as well.
So do you think Flaherty opts in or opts out?
I think he opts in personally, but
I do too, actually. This
Chris?
he should have opted out. I mean, if he was gonna get a deal, he should have got it last year, and he didn't. So I don't know.
So, yeah, I mean, I think the Tigers could theoretically, if he opts out, the Tigers can give him a qualifying offer, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Would they give him a qualifying offer if he does opt out? I think they probably would, because I don't know where they're getting another 150 innings next year.
It's pretty
Here's
much the
my
same.
question.
It's the same amount either way,
It's the same amount.
$2 million more.
If he was going to opt out, and you were going to QO him, you would just go, well, Jack, I'll give you the extra $2 million. Okay, just it's not like he'd be stupid not to take it then, because what do you think his market with a draft choice attached to him is? We already saw it last winter, and he was better last year.
And that's the same problem with Gleyber Torres. You attach a qualifying offer to him, maybe he gets 3 years, $60 million from somebody. I'd be surprised. So, yeah, I don't know. And then they're gonna have to give up a pick too. I don't know, man. I don't think either one of those is gonna work out.
Raj, what do you think Gleyber's worth?
After a sports arena right now, I would go. Is he over 50 million? No. The total contract would be over 50 million. So for example, if he did qualifying offer, wouldn't he have to be over a certain amount in order to
22 million?
22 million. And then if not, it would be a second round pick or a second round comp pick. I don't think he's worth the big $100 million or anything like that. No, not at all.
I agree.
My main issue with Torres, and he's a good player, and I think he helped the team this year until he got hurt, really, and even still was, I think he was a solid locker room guy. Is they're just swimming in second basement. They that's one area where they could just replace people from within pretty easily. So
unless you're getting somebody super good like Marte, you've got that at home.
Gleyber's 25 going on 35, right? What's
29?
What's
29 going on 35? Yeah.
Besides take pitches, what's he do super well?
Yeah, not much.
He ain't getting better.
Makes contact, deep at bats. That's about it.
I think for the first half of the year, first 3 quarters of the year, you could kind of rely on him to come up with that big hit when you needed it. He was a guy who was going to put the ball in play. And I thought for sure he was going to do that in game 5 too, when they had the bases loaded. I was like, he's going to shoot a single, and no, it was just like a lazy fly out. I'm like,
Yeah. We saw his bat speed. Bat speed was pretty bleak this year. I mean, there's an element to this where the Tigers will know more about his medicals the same way they will about Finnegan. I don't know. Did Finnegan rush back a little bit from the groin and was never quite right? There's some little details like that where you can't ever know. But yeah, I just don't see Torres being a guy that's going to be on a lot of people's radar for anything more than the deal the Tigers got him for this year.
Right. 1 year, $15 million. That's all he's worth to me. And to be honest with you, he's clogging the works up from us moving forward. I like him. He played really solid. He was not very good his last 200 plus at bats. You want the team to get better, or you want the team to be okay? Because if you want to be okay, he's a good choice for you. Okay.
If we need a hobby whisperer, we can hire Anthony Rizzo as a second bench coach or something.
I mean, the optimum. I mean, don't you guys think the optimum Javi Baez 2026 is a guy that gets 350 at bats and plays in 5 positions?
Yeah, mostly hits left-handed pitching. Yeah. Is there for you as kind of a leader, and then you have him in big games when Javi Baez tends to do things other people don't do. In those settings, I'm not unhappy anymore. Not that I was ever that unhappy about having Javi Baez on the roster, but after what we saw this year, you feel better about him being a piece, a depth piece for them to some extent, and probably will lock down shortstop for a little while until they, muck around with McGonigal or sign him to a long-term deal or whatever they end up doing.
I mean, look, you guys have seen more McGonigal than anybody. It behooves them for something that Scott Harris probably values quite a bit, which is the opportunity to potentially get a draft choice out of him being a rookie of the year. You got to think he's starting the season. So either he's starting the season at second base or he's starting the season at shortstop. I don't really personally care which place he starts. I
have objection to shortstop because I like just watching him play against Connor Griffin in the playoffs against the curve. It was night and day difference in terms of shortstop range and playability. Griffin was he won a Gold Glove this year in the minor leagues for that. And McGonigal still has some ways to go defensively.
I agree. I think we all, I think we're all on board with that. It's just that question of like all the other moving parts. I mean, if you put Marte and Bregman on either side of him, I can live with it if his range isn't that good. But if you're not going to do that, and then things become a little more sketchy, and you wonder why are they literally only playing him at third base in the AFL? They're just trying to see what he can do, I guess, and it just doesn't really matter. You got Seaver King and et cetera there. I mean, you can kind of banter it any which way you want to, but yeah, I mean, Kevin McGonigal's a bat that would be best at second base and eventually will end up there. But for now, you can make up for him, and we can recreate him defensively in the aggregate, boys.
Tell me if you guys think this is a good comp for McGonigal. To me, he is very similar in almost every way to Bo Bichette, except I think he's got a better level of patience at the plate, but pretty, mediocre fielder, right?
Yeah.
Amazing,
I think there's a
amazing,
sure.
Amazing bat to ball skills, rise to the occasion hitter, slightly better plate discipline, takes more pitches, but there's a lot of similarities between those two guys. I mean, and as aggravating as Bichette can be when he's not waiting for better pitches to hit, holy smokes, can that mother hit? Ooh,
yeah.
man.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Walter Briggs, yes, Bregman did opt out. Sorry, I'm answering questions too.
Yeah. So, my point is that I can live with McGonigal being a subpar shortstop. I live with Trey Sweeney being a -6 DRS this year. So, I mean, the bar ain't too high. Okay.
Well, I think Joe Caverman there makes a really, really good point that makes me think that McGonigal can get better still too. I mean, we have to remember he hasn't played that much in pro ball, and a lot of what you see from him is it looks like he's rushing. It looks like the minor limitations that he has in terms of arm and range force him to like overcook things. Like he's trying to transfer the ball like he's Jose Iglesias, and he's not. If he kind of sat back a little bit more, obviously he's got to work on his game as much as possible all this offseason, but if he sat back a little bit more and just made the routine plays and kept himself in check, a la Mr. Peralta, Johnny P, that kind of style of shortstop where he's not trying to overdo it. I still think it can work. I don't think you're going to love him defensively, at shortstop, but the Tigers are not going to produce a perfect roster that we're all in love with every facet of. That's just not the way it's going to be. So
whatever they do, they got to improve their infield a lot. Their infield sucked.
I think McGonigal has looked good at third base in the AFL so far. Not a ton of chances. Hasn't made a mistake yet. I think the comp. I think the comp is Alex Bregman. He walks more than Bichette. He doesn't strike out as much as Bichette. He also has leaned into that pull the ball in the air, which I think led to it maybe went a little too far once he got to Double-A and he was rolling over on the ball a lot. But he's going to hit a number of home runs, probably more than you would think he should, based on his batted ball profile once he gets that dialed in. And so I think, if he plays third base, he's going to be good there. If he plays second base, he's going to be good there. If he plays short, it's going to be iffy to bad, but playable, I should say.
That's my name for Trey Sweeney.
Playable.
Iffy to bad.
Yeah.
Playable.
Oh yeah.
There's a guy who needs a swing change, man.
And here's the question then for this is where I think Max Anderson, I mean, he did a really good job being on the podcast with Cody, and he was on Baseball America. The Tigers, you also have to realize too, you talked about this earlier, the buttload of second basemen they have, they also, I think they really have to do something with Anderson and Lee and move either move them or not. That's where I think that this is the offseason where either they're going to, this is where Harris's protection of his prospects comes into play. It's like, okay, well, what are you going to do with these guys? Because obviously if you try to trade, I don't know, Jace Young to the Pirates and they said no, I mean, allegedly or whatever the case is, like you have to evaluate, and they have to do something. They have to move off some of these guys once and for all.
I mean, I think we're just a little late too already. I mean, who's going to give you very much for Jace Young right now? Who's you're probably going to end up getting, just cutting him, at some point in the next year. And it's the same thing with Malloy. Like right now, Malloy, there might be a team that they think, okay, we can help this dude recognize breaking stuff better and drive it a little bit more, or at least not be such a massive weakness. But he doesn't have a whole lot of value. And, and Hao-Yu Lee is young enough where, there's still, reason to believe that he can get better. But he's another one who, you're just about past peaking. Like he's either kind of got to put it together next year or, he's going to start losing some value as well. And, and as far as Max Anderson, he's got to hit at AAA before I get real excited. I'll just put it, country simple. He's wrecking the AFL. He's doing everything right. He's hitting the ball in the air more. But AFL pitching is, AA, A+ pitching, a mix of those things for the most part. So he should be wrecking it. That's the thing with McGonigal and Anderson both being out there. They can't help themselves much. They can only kind of hurt themselves out there because, they've handled this pitching and better already. So, it's just kind of an experiment out there. It's kind of a weird year in general for who they have out in the AFL. It's just sort of like, Kenny Serwa, like, oh, knuckleballs are cool. Even worse in the desert, though, there's like thin air there. This is not optimal.
B, do you know how bad the pitching is in the AFL these days?
I mean, I guess I do. Maybe I don't.
Trash. It's absolute garbage now.
Why hasn't McGonigal got 10 home runs already like Josue did?
Why is McGonigal there? That's my question.
There is that question. I thought it was going to be to work on his defense.
I'd have sent him home, told him to rest for 6 weeks, told him to come back after Thanksgiving because we're going to get into it. Okay.
I'm going to stick you with Alan Trammell and, make him just work you like a dog at shortstop all offseason.
Let me ask you guys a few questions. All right. Do you think if Max Anderson, I'm a big believer in the term self-scouting. Okay. I think you have to scout yourself like another team would scout you. And the league tells you something. You can't always say, everybody doesn't understand me. Okay. It sounds like an 11-year-old with problems. And what I mean by that is, don't you think if Max Anderson had any real value around baseball, that they could have got a reliever in a package that included him at the deadline? They gave away some fish, a pile of newspapers, and a gift card to Target to get Finnegan. All right. So if Anderson had any real value, they'd have got something for him. It wasn't like they weren't willing to deal him. They were one of the few, by the way. Okay.
Yeah.
So, my dad used to say something that I didn't understand till I was like 50 years old, which was, don't tell yourself a story. All right. And I think sometimes all of us baseball people, and including Scott, we all tell ourselves a story. All right. And I think if Max Anderson was really a player without quite a few flaws, which had to do with defense and being willing to take a walk, he wouldn't be here now.
Yeah.
So it's fun that he does a lot of hitting, but where's he playing and how's he going to do against guys throwing 98? It's the same thing. I watch Max Clark, and there is nobody more entertaining on social media than Max. He's amazing to watch. The BP is just amazing to watch. Okay. I asked him something the other day when he was showing his BP against sweepers, left-handed sweepers, because I had noticed in some of his at-bats some things that I had some concerns with that were the one thing I really, really like about Max is I think he really works on his game. He works on his flaws a lot. Okay. And I noticed when he did the sweeper video, basically it was sweeper after sweeper after sweeper after sweeper, all in the same locations.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, Max, I understand practicing against sweepers, but when you're in a game situation, you might see 5 sweepers in a row, but they're going to be in all kinds of different locations. So to throw them in the same spot all the time, how is that helping you? That's what and I asked him. He actually answered me. I got to go back and look and see what his answer was. But
I mean, was the answer, this is a clip to make me look good, and I don't actually practice. I don't know.
I don't necessarily think that, but I don't think that's what it was. It doesn't change what I wanted to understand. I wanted to know, you're going to see just off the plate. You're going to see farther off the plate. You're going to see down. You're going to see up. You're going to see all kinds of things, and you're going to have to make much more difficult swing decisions, whether it's a strike or not. You're going to play the count. The count plays into it because if you're ahead 2-0, it's one way to look at it. If you're down 1-2 and the pitch is slightly off the plate with a shape, now you got a whole different swing decision. Okay.
Right. Is it a chase count or do they have to throw a strike? All those things. All I'm saying is that we don't really know we don't know if he's actually working on that. So I would be curious to hear what he had to say, because I would assume somewhere he's mixing fastballs and sweepers and seeing different combinations. But I don't know. I've just seen a lot of good video from like Tread Athletics and some of these that we've all seen. And then the player didn't exactly seem to do some of those things, or they looked optimized, for those clips. That's all.
Here's all I'm saying. Hitting in the major league, hitting in the major leagues is nothing like hitting in the minor leagues. It isn't anything that even resembles it, because how many lefties in the minor leagues are throwing 97 on the black, okay, with crazy sweepers? Or how about if you throw 93, the pitch is starting behind you, finishing on an edge, okay? It's.
I mean, I'm not arguing any about that. I'm just saying, like, that we're talking about one clip from Max Clark. So, like, what is it that you want to know from Max Clark? What do you want to see?
Well, here's all I'm saying is that I just want to look. The weakest part of his game to me is the same weak part of every left-hand hitter that's really good that I see now. How did Riley Green hit against left-hand pitching?
Not so hot.
By the way, how good is Jared Duran? You guys like Jared Duran as a player?
He is a good player. He is a good player.
Yeah. He may not be a good human, but he's a baller of a player.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Ask, how do you think he hit against lefties? They owned his ass. Okay. And so what I'm saying is, I'll tell you who had some good at bats that I watched against left-handed pitching. Kevin Dan McGonigal. He had some damn good at bats.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I saw Max against lefties a few times late in games when relievers came in. It was rough.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not good. I mean, I'm not saying he can't hit left-handed pitching. I'm just saying situationally late in games, he's got some things to work on. And that's why I asked the question, because what he's going to see for sure at Toledo, but for sure in the major leagues, it's going to be a lot tougher than what he's seeing now. And there's a lot of work to do. You're just not going to plug him in and he's going to play right away. Okay.
Well, yeah. And that's why I wonder about center field. Like, we're talking about infield a lot, but, I mean, I think Max, I like Max, and I think Max made quite a bit of progress this year. He actually was even worse against lefties last year, I thought, and has actually improved somewhat, but it's just going to get tougher and tougher. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'm ready to, to guarantee he's, he'll be up sometime next year, I assume, but he's not Kevin McGonigal. He's not, he's younger. He's not as precocious a hitter. Obviously he's got the defensive chops. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't plug him in either. So that it does kind of leave center field as a little bit of a question mark as well.
You guys have had Garco on here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple years ago.
Yeah. We had him on last year when I was still allowed to do a podcast. And I asked him, one of the last questions I asked him, I said, Ryan, explain so that everybody can understand how huge the chasm is between AAA and the major leagues, and how much wider that chasm is now than it was a few years ago. And he discussed it for a few minutes, and he basically admitted that it's never been a bigger jump and a more difficult transition than it is today to go from AAA to the major leagues and hit, because you just can't simulate the greatness of pitching that there is in the major leagues now.
How much information about you will be used against you as well, every bit of it. Yeah.
It's, pitching in the major leagues now is just insane now. I mean, you think like Mickey Mantle, when he was facing guys in the 8th inning, they were like throwing 91 and had 130 pitches on him by the time he was facing them. Guys ain't facing that now. Guys are coming out of the pen, they're throwing 99 with some crazy split, and it's like one guy. There's no comparison to how hard it is to hit now compared to any other era in the history of baseball. And that's what I think. Yeah. We all get frustrated with players, but the degree of difficulty in how they play the game now it's stupid how hard it is. So I mean, absolutely. Think about Will Smith winning the World Series and Miguel Rojas tying the game in the 9th. It's crazy that they were able to do that against the degree of difficulty of pitching that they're seeing. It's nuts.
Yep. Even, you get deep in those bullpens, and every dude's still throwing 96, 97, like Will Klein comes out of nowhere, like, oh God.
Yeah. Who is this? How about Henriquez throwing 101, dude?
Yeah, he was nasty too. I got to take a quick break, though. I'll be right back.
Henriquez was in my fake Scooble trade last year. Was one of the guys that before they turned it around last year.
Go ahead.
I saw that exchange you had with Max Clark, and so I found the tweet. If you want me to read what he said,
remind me what he said.
He said, I mean, it builds the skill of being able to damage sweepers in the heart of the zone. It's October 28th. You move into swing decisions closer to go time. I pitch, tragic, etc. So basically, he's saying right now it's just getting a feel of smashing these pitches, and he's going to work on what to swing at later. So that was his explanation.
Here's my answer to that. Everybody has their own process of building skill. So I totally understand it. Everybody doesn't have to do it the same way. And if that's the way he's going to do it, I'm all in on it. because I'll give you a perfect example of another thing that I saw Max do. You guys have seen it in person a lot, and I'd be curious to have your input back. But it's a skill that he demonstrated this year that he did not have before this year. And he's learned how to kind of take that pitch away, dunk it in the left field, because he knows if he gets on first base, he's on second base, right? So, I mean, it's not beautiful baseball to watch, but if you watch the Blue Jays, they had a lot of guys that did stuff like that. And, you know, you throw the pitch off the plate away, or it's soft away, or even if it's, you know, it's a fastball, to hit the ball and loop it over the shortstop's head and you're on first base looks like a line drive to me, right? So, and he really improved that particular skill in his game. And so, you know, I'm not criticizing. I was just curious what his process was, why he was doing it that way, and I'm all in if that's what he's going to do. He's shown that he understands and usually has a plan, right? So hopefully we'll be watching for that next year.
Yeah, the one thing I'm not, and you touched on it, and just from, you know, watching, you know, he follows baseball like the world's biggest baseball fan. He might be the world's biggest baseball fan, and he's working at it constantly. And he's a guy, we talked to him once, and Raj may have talked to him more than once, but I was out there once, we talked to him. And we had an interview, and then we sat and talked more baseball for like 5-10 more minutes. And we would have probably kept doing that as long as we could have. He's a dude that I am not concerned about him not getting the most out of whatever his ability is. He's going to keep working and trying to get better every year. He might be one of those guys who works and changes things too much, but he's not going to stop trying. And I'm not worried about that aspect of him. So that's the makeup there is kind of off the charts. So I really excited to see what he could figure out. I thought down the stretch last year, he also, in addition to just slapping the ball the other way, figured out how to pull the ball in the air a little bit more.
Hell yeah.
So
August, the last 75 to 125 at bats, he was launching the right center field.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot to love about Max Clark. There's no doubt about it. But he's still young, and
yeah,
you know, it's going to be. Yeah. Look, here's all I'll say to you. We've seen the best of Parker Meadows. The year he played, where he changed his stance and then got promoted to Erie, he hit the piss out of the ball all year. Parker Meadows, when he's good, he's one of the best players on the Detroit Tigers. He's a 4-WAR player when he's good, Parker Meadows. We just don't ever see good Parker Meadows anymore. Not enough of it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, can he get past the nerve issue? We'll see. I fear that Shawnee Pat here in the comments has probably got it right though. We're gonna want all this, and then Scott Harris is gonna sign Ha-Sung Kim and like Dylan Cease or some damn thing. And that's gonna be
I don't mind. Listen, I think Dylan Cease would be a hell of a good signing.
I don't mind that either. I just, you know, like yeah. I'll just keeping in mind who we're dealing with here, you know.
And we can sign Pete Fairbanks too while we're at it. So
hey, I'd be cool with that.
I mean, they need to not be the smartest guy in the room and to get some shit done. That's what needs to happen. And I criticize Chris Ilitch less than most do, because I think he's always happy to give them a budget and he tries to stay out of the way and let them do their job. But if I was Chris at this point, I'd go, boys, I think we need to be a little more aggressive. I'm willing to go to this number. Let's get Bregman signed. And then if you want to do some other things, come back to me, because he's on the verge of being able to draw 2.6 to 3 million people to that stadium downtown and be pretty damn good. Or he can keep doing the same thing he's been doing. And I think, you know,
yeah.
Let's be really honest. They weren't real good the last 85 games.
No, they were not. But on the flip side, you know, I mean, from Chris Ilitch's perspective, they've made the postseason twice, and they've won a series both times. You know, his dad didn't get much more than that done, unfortunately, as owner. So yeah, I mean, from his perspective, I hope he's feeling like we've got this thing brewing and is willing to invest a little bit more. Shawnee Pat
I
is
mean,
also
you're-
bringing up Riley Green. Like, what do we think about Riley Green? I think a lot of it has to do with Riley Green's body, and I just don't have any good information, man. When Riley Green is right, Riley Green's a monster, and Riley Green was not right for a long while.
I got some shit for people. Hold on, by the way, I have to hold on.
Exquisite.
Thank you, Sean, for the $5. I got some grief because I was the only one. So Chris attended his first Detroit Baseball Writers Association chapter meeting last week at Nemo's, where the fryer was down, but very good burgers, and
Yeah,
so
they don't have a kitchen right now.
yeah, they don't have a
Nemo's
kitchen
is a
right now.
classic.
Couldn't order anything fried.
Yeah.
And so
we used to pregame there all the time and take the shuttle for sure.
yeah, it's and the shuttle and the bus is still back there. But the reason why we're having this conversation is because we're all talking about who we voted for. I mean, Tom Gage voted for Dillon Dingler, and I was the one who voted for Riley Green. Everybody, it was unanimous that Turk School won. And
sure,
I just said it because based off the numbers you put up this year, before the age of 25, and for the Tigers not having that kind of production out of anybody they've drafted before. But yeah, as far as like him being just kind of like not right or anything, still the numbers, I don't know. But people were giving me crap about, oh, look, he struck out too much. Well, I know. Trust me, I know. But I thought based off what he was able to do with, if we find out that he was playing on one leg, similar to Brian Buxton, then it makes it all more remarkable. But yeah, I will. If you want to put me on the cross about voting for Riley Green, Terry School is going to win much more awards after that. But it was an interesting conversation hearing the guys, everybody talk about their perspective and everything, and it was just funny because Chris ended up unfortunately got a parking ticket.
That's just me being dumb. There's a parking lot at Nemo's, and I parked in the street. I'm like, hey, all right, all these parking spots, didn't notice where you pay. No. So just dumb.
Yeah.
But no, like, I don't know. I still don't think we've seen Riley Green's best season. I'd be shocked if his best season was last year or this year. At some point, you hope the body stays together, right? Because at some point, your mental ability to play the game meets kind of somewhere with your physical ability, and you have that magical year. And Green is capable of that. He's capable of an MVP level season. I mean, maybe not with Aaron Judge in the world, but like a 6-WAR season, he's capable of. I don't know if it's going to come. His body needs to not break down. And I think, part of what we saw this year with the diminished defensive numbers and the sprint speed is I think they probably hit home to him like, hey, we can't afford you to go all out all the damn time and make all these diving catches and break your ribs and all this stuff. And I think that's part of it. But I think also part of it is he's learning to play with a lot of aches and pains. And he needs to get the strikeouts down. He needs to get the walks up a little bit. I think he's another guy who has been, since they drafted him, since before that, a hitting savant. He's a guy, he knows what to do in the batter's box. He's always going to be a good hitter, even if he, has 0 legs. He'll figure out a way to hit. So he's going to get back in the lab this winter with his dad or whomever and figure it out, and he'll be back next year. And I think a better version of the player we saw this year.
He was so on track with it last year too. I mean, all he talked about was better swing decisions and better plate discipline, and it was working. And then for the first half this year, he started to kind of drift away from that, and it was still working, and he was just crushing. All the way into July, crushing. But whether it's his back, whether it's between the ears, I don't really know. I don't have an explanation for. It's the same swing, for everybody out there. We've talked about this a lot. It's not the swing. It's not that he likes to hit tons of fly balls and tries to uppercut the ball. Everybody's trying to do that. There's something there, and only the Tigers really have like great info and intel on that. So if they think Riley's going to be okay, then to somebody's point there, this probably is the time to offer him extension. But yeah, maybe we'll find out, based on whether or not they do or not, how they feel about him. Because this is the time. The time for Skubal was 2023 when he came back from the injury and tore it up, and you had to look at yourself and say, like, this dude's developing into the, maybe the best pitcher in baseball. That's when you make the offer. You don't make the offer, after he's won a Cy Young and only has 2 years to free agency. Or if you do, you make a real offer and not just one that gets it into the paper that, well, we tried, we made an extension offer. That was a PR offer at best. I just cannot I cannot wrap my head around them ever thinking that there was a remote chance in hell that Tarek Skubal was going to take that deal. But anyway, to go back to Riley, yeah, I mean, if you're going to try to extend him, right now is the time. Get him while he's down.
I'm not extending. Look, I love Riley Green. Okay. I think he's the best hitter the Tigers have developed since Al Kaline. At the same time, let me bring up a couple of points. Since he walked 20 times in April of 2024, what do you think his walk rate is in the last 1,100 at bats?
It's probably about 7%.
7, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So the question starts becoming, is Riley Green ever going to be really, really good with a 7% walk rate? Don't think so. Okay.
He's
And
not the
that's-
type of pitcher you just groove it to. So yeah, you've got to be able to take your walks and force him into the zone.
Right now, Riley Green is a great mistake hitter. He's not a great hitter. He was a better hitter a while ago than he is now. The other question, Cody and I talk about this for years. Riley Green, when he's really hitting well, hits the ball often to the left side of second base.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
How much did Riley Green hit the ball to the left side? I looked, and
Yeah.
shockingly, the numbers will tell you it didn't fall off that much. The eye test tells me he did not hit a lot of scuds to left center in the second half of the season. That's approach. His approach, especially the last 300 at bats, sucked. The
Yeah.
good news about Riley Green is,
Yep.
you want to talk about being a gym rat. Riley Green is essentially a baseball gym rat. All he does is love to be in the cage. Okay. So I imagine that he will work on trying to improve some things this winter. And he's tweaked his swing a lot. Remember, he had over a 50% ground ball rate for years.
Yep.
Doesn't have that anymore. He's got the second steepest swing after Freddie Freeman in baseball. The weird part is Freddie Freeman both walks and doesn't strike out 30% of the time either. So there's a lot of approach. It's not the swing, it's the approach. It's the pitches you're swinging at. Here's the last question. Go look at the sprint speed. It sucked in April. Something ain't right there. You don't all of a sudden run slightly above average and then come back the next year and run below average unless you've basically been eating chicken tenders 45 times a day and weigh 275. And that's not the case when you look at them. So something weird is going on. Does he got degenerative hip problems? What the heck's going on? The other thing is he never had a great arm. Last year,
Yeah.
I'm 69 years old. Riley Green and I can
Noodle.
throw with each other, and I'm not saying I throw better than him, but it'd be a contest, okay? And there's like a lot of weird physical stuff that went on there that there needs to be some answers to. And until you know those answers, I'm not extending him. He's going to get paid anyway. That's what arbitration is all about. So, the other thing I ask you guys, you don't know what kind of CBA is coming in 2026. You don't know if there's going to be a floor or a cap or a revenue share. 52% of major league players now make the minimum. 52%.
I'm going to say I kind of do know. And the answer is no. There will not be a floor or a cap.
Yeah, well, I got news for you. I think there's going to be some stuff going on. They don't really pay attention to Tony Clark too much anymore. He's been
No, that's
terrible.
true.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
true. But there isn't going to be baseball in 27 if that's the full contest is between that and that. So
Look, every time I say this, it's a joke. Every real estate deal I ever do, every thing I do about investing in stocks, all the same comes down to the same thing. It's always a math problem, baby. And it's always a math problem. So we can all say no to that. But if you can show the players, look, quarterbacks are getting paid $52 million to play quarterback in the NFL. Wide receivers getting paid almost $30 million. You know what they have? They got a damn salary cap. They got 53 players on the roster and another 10 really on the roster, so 63. So the idea that somehow salary cap is keeping players from making money is a big damn joke. You know who makes money in baseball? The top 5% of players. The other 95%, they ain't getting paid jack squat. And that's really what people should be paying attention to. There's 5 or 10 guys that get paid every winter. Everybody else is struggling to get paid. So I'm thinking there's some things that are going to change. There's way too much money in the game now. All these, Netflix, Amazon, Apple, all paying to be in the game, and they've been in the game, and they're only going to pay more to be in the game now. So I'll be very curious to see what a winter from now brings, but I guarantee you it's going to bring some change. That's the question. I'll be interested to see what happens.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap it up for the evening. Thank you so much, Mark, for coming on, and it's been nice to have you back on the airwaves, if you will. Brandon, what do you have pimping out? You want to pimp out anything?
Oh yeah, well, we got all my buddy Patrick O'Kennedy's got all the roster and contact information you could possibly need up on the site. I'm going to be writing about Riley. I'm going to be writing about probably the extension possibilities there, and yeah, all the free agent coverage is starting to come, and we'll just keep following Mr. McGonigal and Mr. Anderson out west, and they've only got about 10 games left to go, so all that will be coming and more. And yeah, by Thursday we'll know if Jack opts in.
Yep, we'll have and I'm doing some free agent pieces for the roundtable, and then I'm working on the quarter century teams. We're even including the Connecticut Tigers too. So Brandon, you're part of that project of voting in just between the three of us. Chris, there's a special guest coming on the Days of Roar podcast, correct?
Oh yeah, Lance Parrish, the big wheel. We got to talk to him. That was a lot of fun. We've talked to Parrish. You and I talked to Parrish 6 years ago in West Michigan. We asked him.
One of my favorite.
Him talking to Ray Rivera and asking him what Ray Rivera could do to become a better hitter, and he said, "Well, he's hitting off his front foot right now.
Play softball.
Moved to Australia, bro.
Yeah.
A really great guy.
It's so funny.
I had him kind of when we talked to him back in the day. He told us about what it was like being developed in the 70s. It basically it did not exist, and he goes into that for we asked him one question, he talked for 20 minutes, and it's great, and I encourage people to listen to it. He's an awesome dude.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, and there was one last question I wanted to address. Why did they sign Colt Keith to an extension and not Riley Green? Because Colt Keith's extension was pretty dirt cheap. Colt Keith was very reasonable, and his mom negotiated that deal. So there you go.
Yeah, his mom is a very savvy lawyer, and don't mess with Mary Keith. I'm telling you this right now.
Don't mess with Mary.
Yeah, Mary's an awesome lady.
She's a cool lady. We'll take you out on Twitter if you come at her.
Yeah.
She got him signed for 60 cents on the dollar. She did a hell of a job.
Yeah, she infiltrated the Discord too.
If she's smart and investing it now, it'll all work out the same, baby.
But yeah, we have some stuff going on the website too. Like I said, the quarter century team. And I'm working on why the Tigers can't develop a third baseman, which is there's something that I looked up. Chris looked up this stat since the year 2000, not including international guys, just the Tigers guys that they've drafted only. They've had only 92 games of all the players they've drafted from shortstop that play at the big league level. 92 since the year 2000. That is,
Ryan Kreidler, Michael Holloman. Who else?
It was just a wasteland before 2010.
Garantano,
really,
Danny
most of the time.
Yeah.
Help us, Peyton Graham.
Help us, Bryce Rayner. Get that shoulder.
Hey, I will not tolerate any Bryce Rayner slander.
I'm not slandering. I'm saying get your shoulder better, man.
Get your shoulder right, bro. Yeah, we need you. Yeah. Gotta look good.
Yeah, they'd have 3 top 10 prospects in baseball right now had he stayed healthy. That's fun to think about.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. All so right. We'll be back maybe next week. We'll see how it goes the next couple weeks or so. I will tell you that at the end of the month, I'll be there won't be a show. Well, I won't be on the show for the last couple weeks of the month as we just head into Thanksgiving and all that stuff. And then I've told people what's going on personally. So thanks so much. Keep it classy, everybody. And we'll talk to you soon. And have a good night. As soon as I try to find this music bed, there it is. All right. Have a good night, folks.
Punch the button.
There it is. Oh,